happening? Paul Ingram here with College Center. I want to go ahead and make this video real quick for those who are attending or planning on attending this year's ITC. I want to go ahead and cover the required training gear that you're going to have with you for training, and also some of the additional items that's going to help give you a better experience and get the most out of the 5 days of training. If you are new to College Center, if you're unaware of what ITC is, this is our 5-day immersion training camp that we've been holding once a year. This is the last year that I'm actually doing this camp. All right, so if you want to take advantage of this camp and get this experience, make sure to head over to collegecenter.com, register ASAP, get your spot locked in because they are filling up, and they're filling up pretty fast. What this is it's 5 days of just Collie immersion. We're training for, on average, 10 to 12 hours a day. All the training, 100%, is conducted outside, whether it is sunny out or raining out, hot, cold, doesn't matter. All right, we train and we train and we train. All right, there's more training time than there is instruction time. So you're gonna build a lot of skill. You're gonna learn a lot, and you're gonna build a lot of skill within just these 5 days of training. This year's immersion training camp is happening July 13th through the 17th. And we're heading back to Custer, South Dakota, over at my good friend and student's Broken Arrow Horse Camp. This is a beautiful, beautiful place to train. Gorgeous environment. We're out in the Black Hills National Forest, surrounded by beautiful mountains. It's just an amazing, amazing terrain that just adds to the experience. And this place just kind of puts you into this immersion. And it's just absolutely a great experience. You're learning a lot, you're developing a lot of skills, you're training with a great team of support that's there to help pull you up in the training, and it's just a fantastic experience. It's a one-of-a-kind type of experience. So let's go ahead and start off with the gear that is required for training. You're gonna need to have this with you, and then we'll get to the additional items that will help make life easier. First things first is rattan sticks. Rattan. Not hardwood. We don't use foam sticks. Rattan. You're gonna want rattan sticks. You can grab your pair of rattan sticks over at collegecenter.com. However, I do recommend that you have at least 2 pairs of sticks. Yes, a stick might get worn out, a stick might break, but also then you have enough sticks so that way while you're learning the movements and you're learning to put it together with the footwork, then you have another pair, a couple extra sticks left over so that way you can map out the footwork so you have good visual references of what we're doing. Okay, but rattan sticks, obviously that's a requirement because, I mean, it's Kali. Other thing is 1 or a pair of training knives. We like the rubber training knives because they're great not only for the drilling, but they're also great for the sparring. Great for cuts, flexible for thrusts, and all that. So you can grab a pair of training knives also over at our store at collegecenter.com. Rubber knives, flexible knives. Not recommended, it's not required, but it is optional, is some sort of training bolo. It doesn't matter if it's steel, wood, plastic, the material doesn't matter. But if you like to have the feel, if you like to have that visual of seeing where the cutting lines and all that are to help with the mechanics and alignment of the weapon and all that, then it is a good option to have with you. So that way, especially when we're going through the movement training and all that, then a training bolo might help you out quite a bit. Not a requirement, but an optional thing that is a lot of fun and a lot of people find to be useful. Up next is hand protection. You're gonna want some sort of hand protection. We have found hockey gloves are the best. Sometimes people will be like, well, how about lacrosse gloves? Hockey gloves is what we have found works the best for your hand protection. I know sometimes people are like, well, I can use lacrosse gloves for the knives and then hockey gloves for the sticks. You're gonna have so much gear as it is, and there's gonna be times that we're gonna be hiking a few miles to our training location and then hiking back. So you're not gonna want all this additional gear that you may or may not use, especially, an extra pair of gloves, right? I mean, this just takes care of everything. And the mechanics, as you're learning the mechanics and you're developing your mechanics, you're gonna have a lot of power on the end of these things, and the lacrosse gloves in our experience just is not enough provided protection. Hockey gloves is where it's at. So just a pair of hockey gloves, that's all you need. And then you're gonna want sunglasses. These give you some good eye protection from the training, but also from the environment. It protects your eyes from the sun. The sun can get very intense there. Also from the wind, and sometimes it might start raining on us or anything like that. So eye protection, very, very good idea. Doesn't need to be anything special. Just, this is a cheap $20 pair of sunglasses, plastic lenses. That way, if something happens, if I leave them, lose them, if they get broken, for whatever reason, then it's not a big deal to replace them. I like having 2 pairs of sunglasses with me. Sometimes I'll leave a pair over at the campground or something like that. That way, if something was to happen, then, I don't have to run to town. But if you only have 1 pair of sunglasses, not a big deal. You'll probably get through. 1 pair of sunglasses will be enough. But if you do need to replace them, there's a lot of good stores in town, in Custer, that is very easy to replace items like this. Training bag. You're gonna want a good training gear bag, something that's gonna be sturdy, something that's going to last, and something that's gonna give you some comfort when when we are hiking out to our training locations and stuff. So you can head over to collegecenter.com. You can grab a gear bag, you can grab some sticks, some training knives, and then collect all your other training items. That's what you're gonna need for the training. Let's move over to some of the additional items that's going to help make life easier. It's gonna just give you a much better experience. All right, so number 1, this is a required gear, but you'll understand why I have it as an addition. Water. You're gonna want lots and lots of water. Required. 1 gallon of water per day of training. Minimum. What we have found, and everybody who have been through a training camp of ours, what we have found is you're actually gonna probably want 2 gallons of water per day. Most people will finish the gallon. A lot of people will drink about 1.5 gallons, especially if it's really hot out. But you're gonna want, it's recommended to have at least 2 gallons of water per day with you. All right, but required at least 1 gallon of water. So water is an absolute. So that's why I kind of have it in the addition. Obviously, it makes sense that it is a requirement, but we've had people bring 1 gallon of water, and then they're like, we have to give them water, from everyone else's supply, because they're like, it's not enough. So that's why it's an addition. Have your gallon, and then an additional 1 extra gallon. You're just going to make things a lot easier. All right, next thing up, shoes. Pair of good hiking shoes, athletic shoes, something that's going to be durable, breathable, comfortable. Make sure, that you got comfortable shoes. So that's going to be required. Some people like to work out in some hiking boots or anything like that, sometimes the tactical boots. That's totally cool. Any kind of good footwear that's going to be good for this terrain. It's a rugged terrain. Sometimes we're training on gravel, or we're training on rocks. And sometimes, if it rains, there might be some mud, it might be grassy, it might be slippery, right? All different types of things happen when you're training outside. So make sure you have a good pair of comfortable hiking shoes. I recommend an additional pair of shoes to have with you, at least 2 pairs of shoes. This is what I do. This is what we have found is best, because, if it does rain, we don't stop training. We don't go find shelter. We're training outside in the rain then, when it does rain. And sometimes it's nice to have that extra, dry pair of shoes while you have your wet shoes drying out. All right, so, hey, Goji. You want to play with that? So, good hiking shoes, recommended at least 2 pairs. To go with the shoes, socks. Extra socks. It's just a nice little luxury to have, okay? So make sure you have good socks with you. We have great wool socks over at collegecenter.com that are really, really good, because the wool socks, they don't absorb quite like cotton. They help to keep your feet drier. They keep your feet a little bit better padded and things. So, and they don't smell as bad, right, as like the cotton socks and stuff. So we do actually have wool socks over at our store as well, over at collegecenter.com. There is laundry. There's laundry machines and dryers and all that stuff at the campsite. So, you can always throw your socks and throw your wet clothes and shoes and stuff in the dryers, if that needs, ends up being the case. Hat is always a good idea, especially if you have sensitive skin up on top, just to help keep the sun off of you. This year at ITC, everyone that is attending, you are going to be getting a hat from us. So, but if you like, another hat that you have that you're like, yeah, makes me feel good, I train better, just want to make sure you got a hat. Help to keep the noggin from getting burnt up and all that from the sun. First aid. First aid is always a good idea, and mostly for blisters. So some sort of athletic tape or Band-Aids, so that way if you have blisters forming and all that, then you can go ahead and get those covered, get those taken care of. That way, it just helps to keep the training a little bit more pleasurable throughout the 5 days. Doesn't matter how conditioned your hands are, even my hands are pretty calloused, but I'll still get a blister or two training at ITC. So another thing you can do if you want to, especially if your hands aren't really conditioned for Kali, is you can get like a pair of some sort of like athletic gloves, like baseball gloves or something like that, and you can train with that. And that way then, you don't really need to worry about taking care of blisters. All right. Next item is rain gear. It is the Black Hills. Weather can be very unpredictable. It can be 95 degrees, very sunny, blue skies, beautiful day out, and then just out of nowhere, the sky can open up and it'll just rain on us. And a lot of times the rain there is cold. So you'll go from 90 degrees to like 55 degrees within like 10 minutes, and it'll just rain on you. So just be ready for any kind of weather conditions. Like I said, if it's raining on us and we're out there, we're training, then we train in the rain. The one thing you can predict about training in the Black Hills is that the weather can be very unpredictable. Okay, so make sure that you have that in mind. Next item is a notebook. All right, just have some sort of notebook, pen. That way you can take notes as we're going through information. You can jot down some notes. You can jot down some diagrams of the drills and all that, just to help with the memory retention of the training. That way when the camp is over and you go back home and you're training, or you're going back to your training group, right, then you can bring it back with you more accurately. There is more training time than there is instruction time. We train, okay? But it's a good idea to have it. Next items. Sunscreen. You're gonna want sunscreen. Don't try to be like the tough guy or anything like that you can handle it and all that. You're gonna get sunburn. I mean, we're out there all day, 10 to 12 hours a day training. You're sweating, so you're gonna want to make sure that you're protecting your skin from the sun, especially if you have sensitive skin. Don't try to tough it out and be like, oh, I'll tough out the sun and all that stuff. All right, if you do not have sunscreen, you are going to get burned, and it's just, why do that to yourself when you don't have to? So make sure you got sunscreen. Next thing, this is the last item for today on the list, but this is an item that a lot of people overlook. They don't think about. Chapstick. You're gonna want chapstick. Your lips are going to get dry. They might, once they start getting dry out there, they can swell up. They're going to get very uncomfortable. They start getting crazy chapped. So we found just even a little bit of chapstick goes a long way to have a much better experience training out there. All right. So that covers it. That's the required gear for training. Additional items that's going to just help make your training a much more pleasurable experience. And then any kind of apparel, we like to keep light apparel. We are training outside, but just be ready for the different weather conditions. It can be cool in the morning, it can get cool at night, and sometimes we're hanging out, we have a campfire, something like that going at night. You might want to have something, some kind of sleeves just to kind of cover you up at night or something like that. And just kind of watch the weather and just be ready for all that stuff. But if you have these items, you're good to go. It's minimal amount of gear. You can pack it all up in your bag. pack it up in your gear bag, sling it, and you're ready to go. No, you don't need any additional items really above this. You don't need extra training gear and add all this weight and everything, especially when we are hiking a few miles. Keep it light, keep it simple, just keep it direct, keep it functional. All right, guys, that covers the training gear for ITC, the gear, the additional stuff, and I'm looking forward to it. This is always a great experience. Great location to train in. If you want to learn more about the Immersion Training Camp, head over to colliecenter.com. Go visit our events page. You can read up more about it. I got all these items listed right there on the event page for ITC. Get registered ASAP. Like I said, spots are filling up very fast. Once they're sold out, that's it. Registration does close May 1st. Even if we don't sell out all the spots, once May 1st hits, registration is closed. If we have one spot left that we didn't fill, then that spot's not going to get filled by May 1st. It is what it is. All right? So that's the first lesson in Collie, my friends. Timing. You got plenty of time to get everything worked out in order so that way you can be there. If you miss it, you miss it. Okay? That's just kind of how we roll here at Collie Center. But I'm very excited. We got a great group already registered coming out to train. This is going to be an awesome, awesome last ITC. All right? I'll catch you guys back here next time. If you have any questions about training, any questions about this camp, head over to colliecenter.com. Send me an email through our email system, and I'll take care of those questions ASAP, and then we'll go ahead and get you registered up. And I look forward to seeing you over in the Black Hills for 5 days of immersive training. I'll see you guys next time.